Hello again. We've talked probably too much about how YouTube has demonetized all my videos. Well, there's one that's monetized, and we don't know why it is. But anyway, that's a dead horse. But I have to say, thank you for being on Patreon. Truly, in terms of some kind of compensation, Patreon is the only thing that I have, which is great. And one of you made an extraordinary effort, and I have to share this with you. I'm just never able to say how grateful I am for your support and for this extraordinary person who's a subscriber on Patreon. And it's hard to reach me or find me, but they did. And this is from the English Pewter Company. So, I mean, I wish guns were made this well. It's a flask made in Sheffield, England, and I only know Sheffield from knives. That's where I know Sheffield. And I'm hoping that with Brexit or whatever, and I'm completely ignorant about these things, but I'm hoping with Brexit maybe they can start making Parker Hale rifles and all the good things that they did before. Anyway, this flask, I'm just sort of reveling in this moment. It came with a quality control tag, which guns used to come with, and a little booklet and a box. Anyway, I'm not supposed to name names. There's even a little inscription engraved on here. But for carrying a little spirits, it's a very, very nice gift. So you know who you are. Thank you so much for sending. It's very thoughtful, and I appreciate that. So I'll just set that there, and I don't know if I should promote this company, and people would talk about, I guess, alcohol and guns or whatever they conclude, but very, very nice. And it's made out of pewter. I haven't put anything in it, but it's great. As far as the video itself, I told you I collect double shotguns, and you have to remember that I started collecting so long ago that I actually forget when I started collecting. So I used to have a fantastic collection of double shotguns, but then I didn't know that I would have a YouTube channel, and I didn't know that the YouTube channel would work even after I started the channel. And maybe it still won't work. Actually, most people would say you make zero money from it. It's not working. But money isn't everything. Anyway, I had double shotguns, and it took me a long time, and I'm sharing it with you on Patreon because you're kind of special people. This is a Remington 1900, and I originally thought I would put on the table a Remington 1100. You could look these up. A Remington 3200. You probably don't need to look up the 1100. You know it. That's a semi-automatic. The 3200 was a re-release in a sense of the original Remington 32. But way before all that stuff was going on, Remington made double-barreled shotguns, and the 1900 is a tank. Now, I'm going to show you the butt plate of this shotgun. When will you ever see a butt plate that clean? I've had these before. The collection I had before and sold, I had 2 or 3 of these, and I sometimes virtually bought them from guys I ran into in the marsh. They didn't sell them to me on the spot, but I said I'm interested, and they could tell there was something different about me. And I have a fellow who's writing me recently who collects duck decoys. And, something trips in our minds, and we just become really interested in something, whether it's stamps or duck decoys or shotguns. Anyway, at that time, I thought that double-barrel shotguns were just unbelievably fine, and I still do. But I don't have many to show you because they're all gone. So I've shown you some, and I'm trying to acquire them, but they're very scarce, and they're getting more and more expensive. But I'm probably talking too much. This is the Remington 1900. What a side-by-side shotgun. Just beautifully made. And after all these years, wherever this was living, The fellow I bought it from said it's been in a closet for the past 50 years, and I don't doubt that. It locks up. This is bank vault tight. It's just remarkable. To take it apart, just so I show you, you tip the forend off. That's easy. There's a spring-loaded extension there in the forend. Tip the barrels down. And these are not lightweight barrels. These are significant barrels. It may not look like that by the way I'm holding them, but the whole mechanism, which is true for most older mechanisms, is extremely robust, and everything goes together just like the day it was made. Even the forend still, I don't know if we can focus in on this area of the inside. There's still color case hardening remaining, and the whole rig is just so unbelievable to handle, and puffs together just like that. And you may know this from waterfowling. I loved waterfowling for years till I moved to a more urban setting. It was very difficult to frankly to do anything. I don't know about these cities, but double triggers, like I showed you a moment ago, bank vault solid. And when you're waterfowling, you want to have swing. Now these barrels, I think I measured them at 30 inches, full and modified. And with that forward weight, you know, when you're tracking geese or any kind of waterfowl, and I have to say I became fairly proficient at waterfowl shooting. It's got a great rib. I wish I could show it to you. It's kind of a convex rib or a concave. I forget which. It's not a swamped rib. A swamped rib would go down in the middle. Anyway, this 1900 kind of, I was going to say America at its best. I don't know. Maybe the best is still to come. But what a great shotgun. Any manufacturer that made a double side-by-side this good today would have something to talk about. Yes. So anyway, there's the Remington 1900. It's a 2 3/4 inch only, nitro proof, which is very interesting. And anyway, we can talk about the details, and I'll study it more. We probably can't focus in, maybe this side, I don't know, on Remington, right there on the frame. I don't know if that's possible to pick up, but you know, we do our best. We don't have fancy equipment here. But that's it for the Remington 1900. So, and I thought, you know, it's got the Prince of Wales grip, the check ring. It's got everything. You would have this shotgun out in 1905, 1919, 1929, 2019. It's still an excellent shotgun. And then moving to another shotgun. I mainly brought this out because there were so many fantastic 410 shotguns made. Winchester made some. My favorite of all the bolt action 410s is this Webley and Scott. The UK used to make some really great firearms that didn't cost £10,000 each. And have a look at this action. Now it's a single shot. You don't have to write home about the engineering. It actually reminds me of a Winchester 69-22, the way it works. But that is the action. And what I like about this Webley and Scott, well, first of all, I don't know when this was made, but whenever it was made, it works perfectly today, just like the day it came out of the factory. And you push it forward, and the thing I like about this is there are tons that lock on the bolt handle, but they put an additional lug on the side of the receiver, and you can see. And if you're into gun manufacture, you'll know you have to get this timed properly so that it actually engages the action, and it does, and it works gas tight as they have to. Just a beautiful little 410 shotgun. Excellent. And not bulky, not big. I think I showed you one based on the Lee Enfield. This one is not a Lee Enfield design. Oh, if you naturally it's cock on closing, so if you decide not to shoot, it's just like a Lee Enfield, it'll open itself. And cocking and closing, effortless, everything is instinctive and perfect. A lot of people call these garden guns, but yeah, and maybe that's what it was, or kind of rook shotguns back in the realm, as I like to say, in the UK. The whole thing weighs 2.5 pounds. It's effortless to work with. I don't even think it would be that difficult to make. Somebody who just took this and made it again, you'd sell a trainload of these things. The guns that we are exposed to these days, they just don't do it. The hunting hasn't changed. This is a great shotgun, and it has beech stock, but who cares? They put some stain on it. And they didn't put the wood all the way down. There's no need. As I mentioned to you before, if you're going into stock making or whatever, the forend should end not all the way down the barrel unless you're making a full stock firearm. They can end quickly. This is the concept, that you can pull the gun towards you with the forend. Anyway, that's another kind of story. And then the last thing, this is sort of a hodgepodge, but I have some wonderful young people on Patreon and on the channel, and I just wanted to mention in closing, we'll make another video, but in a lot of ways, kind of like the stock market, gun collecting and doing good things with guns is like opportunism. This is a pre-64 Model 70 that Bubba got a hold of, and you can see they rasped and they filed and they carved, and so I picked it up. The reason this is sticking out here is because I took it all apart, and I've had this for many years, and I thought one day, of course I could put a custom stock on it, but that's not the idea. Pre-64 Model 70s are too special in a way now to put custom stocks on. So I thought one day I'll run into a stock and I can just get rid of this hacked up thing. The bore is perfect even though the bolt handle is worn, and the action is pre-64 all the way perfect. So look what comes along now, a stock. Now in fairness, this is actually a standard rifle stock, but it'll fit. I checked. It's a drop-in stock. This is actually a featherweight. You can tell the featherweight by the shoulder, but it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to pick that up. And then you have a decent stock on an excellent barrel in action. And maybe I'll talk more about this stuff, but if you're into kind of like advanced collecting, those guns that are missing bolts, those guns that have orphans, abandoned, neglected, looking bad, you can combine things because you're in a unique position. People think about guns and buying a gun once a year. You maybe think about it all the time, and you encounter people that have parts that they don't want, or stocks they don't want, or barrels, you know, the whole thing unfolds. Anyway, this 243, which is a great caliber, not all that common in the pre-64, maybe in numbers common, but people don't sell them just because it's such a great caliber. Anyway, we'll put this pop this on, and have a wonderful looking rifle, which anybody would be proud to own. Anyhow, that's a lot of ground to cover, from the Sheffield Flask English Pewter Company to the Webley and Scott 410 to the Remington 1900. Thank you very much for watching and helping me, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.